guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for March 1st, 2020. Wow, it's already the 1st. I mean, it was nice to have the leap year and have the extra day, which I spent a lot of that reading, which was really nice. So, while I was spending money, I did go to Pals because they had a 29% off all their books. So, I did buy a few books yesterday that I wasn't planning on until that came through. Anyway, this week was fair. I mean, it was nothing too spectacular. Work was a little stressful, just the time of year kind of stuff that we were getting stuff ready for the new season and for construction and stuff. So we're just, a lot of things are gearing up. We'll see how this next week goes. It's going to be kind of painful, I think. So I did a lot of reading this week. I'm really kind of excited about that. So this is probably going to be a long video, just so you know. So I finished up I finished 4 books this week, which for me is really good. I mean, you know, when I hit 3, I'm excited. So I did 4. 2 were audio, and then I just happened, because the way work was, I could listen to audiobooks at work, which doesn't always happen. It's not something that I can do all the time. Mondays I sometimes can, due to the fact that the guy who works right next to me is not there until about 10. So I get the morning where I get to listen to something because nobody else is in there. But as soon as he arrives, there's not much I can do. And he's not supposed to be there Monday. So I might get some more reading this week done that way. But this week just happened to be there was a lot of stuff going on, and I got to listen to audiobooks more than I normally do. I got kind of back into them, clearly. And then I've started a lot of books in the last couple days that I have not finished. So, and then I'm going into March. So let's just get started. First one I finished was Bring Up the Bodies by Hilary Mantel. I think I finished this. I think I finished this Sunday. If I didn't finish it Sunday, I only had a little bit left on Monday. I'm pretty sure I stayed up to finish this on Sunday. So this is the second book in the Thomas Cromwell trilogy. I'm doing Cromwellathon with a group of people who are doing it with Jason at Old Blues Chapter and Verse. So I read this. I didn't read it to the schedule because I had other things going on all month. You know, I just, as I said, I don't read to a schedule, which I'll get to in a second. But I read this mostly over last week and a little bit, as I said, or the week before last and into the weekend. And I'm pretty sure I finished it Sunday night. Which I don't know why I can't remember what day I finished this. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It was early in the week, whatever it was. I really enjoyed this. So Wolf Hall I found super fascinating, and I really, really enjoyed that one. This one I didn't like quite as well. I gave this only a 4-star instead of out of 5. I was not blown away as well by it. I don't know if it's because I just read Wolf Hall and that was so amazing. And then this one was kind of not... To me, it wasn't quite as high a level. It was still really good. It was still compelling. I just don't feel like I was as drawn into it. But that doesn't mean I really enjoyed this. And it's definitely a book I'm still going to reread. And I'm really worried how I'm going to feel about the last book. Only because it's been so long since this book came out. And then that book was just being published, I think, on the 10th here in the U.S. So this was like, was this 2012 or something? Yeah. So, I mean, it took her, you know, she did other things and stuff, but so the third book, The Mirror and the Light, is coming out, and I am going to read it when the library gives it to me, but I'm not high enough on the list to get it right away, so I figure I'll get it at the end of March or early April. But I'm glad I picked this up. I'm glad I read this. I'm trying to think how to explain why it didn't... I don't know, I think it's because it didn't feel as immediate as the first book, as in the things that were happening, and you can see Cromwell's rise and the things that was going on, like from how it starts to where he ends up. And it was such a, and then of course the whole thing with Anne Boleyn and, you know, Catherine and everything, like through that first book, I don't know, there's just so much more going on. The second book was definitely focused on Anne Boleyn's demise and how that all comes about. And I as I said, I really liked it. I don't know. It was something wasn't quite as compelling as the first book was, and I'm not sure why that was. So I don't know. Well, we'll see. As I said, it's not that I didn't like. I love this book. It was just I didn't love it as much as Wolf Hall, I guess is what I want to say. So anyway, but I did finish it, so I am caught up at least now finally. Because I have wanted to read this series for years. It was one of those always on the back burner. Oh, I'll get to that at some point. Anyway, so now I've read them. Now I just have to wait for the third book like everybody else. So, early in the week I finished my audiobook reread. Well, it was my first time listening to the audiobook, but I read this a long time ago. And this is Allegiance of Honor by Nalini Singh. I think I figured out this was book 14. Yeah. And this is book 4. Is that right? Did I just read that right? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So no. 15. This is book 15. I'm off on the numbers. You know, when the series gets to be about 18, 19 books, you get confused. Anyway, so this is book number 15. This is kind of like the mid-book between the first section and then the section she's writing now. So it's kind of like a bridging book. It has all the characters. It was just a fun, this is urban fantasy, paranormal romance, with shifters and psychics, or what are called Sais, and humans who are all vying for power. And this is kind of like that world dynamic of everybody's got their own little like family groups and stuff, and how though they're reaching out and becoming found families kind of thing with other groups and other people. And then of course there's the bad people in the background trying to cause havoc in the world. Anyway, but I love these books, as you know. So I reread this. I just accidentally hit it on my phone the other week, and to do the audiobook, I was scrolling and it started loading it. So I'm like, why not? So anyway, it was great to listen to this. As I said, I'm really thinking about getting Audible Escape just for a little bit, just so I could listen to all her, like most of her books in this series are on there. And I don't own them on audio, because, I have the physical books, and I've read the physical books several times on every one of them, but I might listen to them on audio. So I'm trying to hold off in March just due to the fact of some of the audiobooks I want to hit this month. But that could happen. I could still do that Audible Escape for a couple months and just blow through her books in rereads. So we'll see. But I really, really enjoyed this. This is fun. I know a lot of people don't like this book because there isn't a main romance couple like all the rest of her books are like that, where it focuses on one romance, and then there's a lot of people, there's a lot of things going on that's beyond that with the world and stuff, but it's, I don't know. But this one I liked because you got to see all the people who were in the books, in the 14 books before this, so I don't know. I enjoyed this book. Anyway, it was just a great read. And then, after I finished that, I picked up Deadwake by Erik Larson, The Last Crossing of the Lusitania. My dad is letting me borrow this. This is one of the books he bought when we went to the library book sale last weekend. So I was like, I already own the audiobook, and he gave me the book, and I'm like, well, I'll just listen to the audiobook. I might as well, so I could give it back to him. So I listened to this all week, and it was really good. Again, Erik Larson is a good historian in the way. I like his narrative style. I'm not saying he's perfect or that he doesn't talk about certain aspects of a historical event, but I think I like the way he picks an event like the Lusitania, like this, and then he also shows people who were who went on the boat, and he has their interviews and writings and things from historical stuff, and then he talks also about like the U-boat that actually that torpedoed the Lusitania, and then also about like Winston Churchill and Room 40, which is their intelligence department. Now, it was really funny because, again, I tried to read a book last year that had to do with the Lusitania and Room 40, and so I knew a little bit about that going into this, and this was actually fascinating that way. I didn't get as much information maybe from this as I did for a little bit of that other book, but I hated that other book because of the choices the characters were making right away, and I'm like, I can't follow this. Anyway, but this was so much better to do the history than nonfiction. But I still think he did a really good job. I enjoyed the audiobook. I was narrated by Scott Brick, which is one of my favorites male narrators that I've read had a lot of history read to me by, so I enjoyed that. So I really like this. I do want to pick up his new one, The Splendor and the Vial, I think, but it'll probably be a little bit before I get to that one. And I have never read Isaac Storm, so that's another one on my list I want to get to. But anyway, so I really enjoyed this. I get to give it back to my dad right away. He'll be shocked. I still have one of his books I've had for like years. I need to get through that. And I have a book of my mom's. I've had it for a year. I need to get rid of some books that I borrowed. Those are the other books I borrowed, but and this one. And now I'll give it back. He has more of my books than I have of his. But I really like that nonfiction, and I would recommend it. And the audiobook was fantastic. I like Scott Brick. I just really like his narration. Anyway, and then I had a buddy read this week on The Daughter of the Blood, so the first book in the Black Jewels. It's not really just a trilogy. I think there's a whole series, but these are the first 3 books that are bound up by Anne Bishop. So again, Anne Bishop is one of my new favorite authors. I'm trying now to read her other series. Okay, I read the Others series that she wrote, which is 5 books, starting with Written and Read. Again, I love that series, 5 stars all the way through. I have to run one more book in my reread of that one, which I'll get to probably soon. But I want to read some of her other series. This is one of the ones that everybody talks about that I had never picked up. I've seen this for years. Because again, this was, I think this was written in 1998. And 99 and then 2000 were the first 3 books. So I think it was something like that. I read with Maria at MH Books. We read the first book this week. We read about 50 to 60 pages a day and we finished on Saturday. We went from Sunday to Saturday. So that worked out really well. It was really nice to read with her because it was funny because of our time difference. She always finished before I did because I couldn't read a lot before I got home from work. Like I'd get to read 10 pages at lunchtime, and then I'd have to wait till I got home at about 5, and then I could start reading. Well, by then it was way late in Ireland, and she had already read it, and so she got to be ahead of me the whole time. But which is fine. I felt bad because I was always behind, but I don't know how else we could have done it with the time difference and the way we work. But I think overall it was really a good read. It is a very dark fantasy, and I would say that as a warning. I knew that going in, and it still shocked me at how brutal it is, the world that these characters live in. Not a world I would ever want. Like, there's a lot of fantasy worlds where I'm like, well, that would be kind of cool to visit, or be there, and because I like that world with those characters. And again, I'm thinking like Tad Williams and stuff, but I don't want to live there. I don't even want to visit this one. This is horrible. And I think you just need to know going into it is very sexually horrible. And, but I just, but it's written so well that the characters that you follow, you adore them, and you don't want anything bad to happen to them, but bad things are going to happen because that's the way stories goes. And it was hard in certain instances when they talked about either their history or something that they had to go through. And you just hurt for those characters. So I can see why people love this series because the characters, just like in the series that I really love of hers, the Others series, you just fall for those characters and you just don't want anything to happen to them. And yet things are going to happen because, they're novels. Writers are cruel, and I know that because I like to write. But it's just it was so good, but it wasn't 5-star for me though. I really enjoyed the first book. I just think she clipped a couple of things or moved around a couple of things that I thought I didn't get quite enough of what I really wanted of the story. Again, we had enough of the cruelty stuff, but it wasn't there was certain things that there's a lot of world building in the beginning. We needed that, so that was a little slow there. And then once we got into it, it just felt like we were jumping so far into the story so quickly that sometimes I felt like it was just a rush. Like we weren't getting time to breathe sometimes, and sometimes you just needed to. So that was my only little criticism of that. And it really was a good story. I can't wait to start the next one because it left on a cliffhanger, of course. Brutal. Anyway, and then So I do want to start that. Maria might get to it before I do, but I really think I'm going to probably pick up the second book in April. And again, I'm not doing like a TBR in April, so I'm not sure when I'm going to get to it, but my goal, just because March I've planned so much already, I just don't think I'm going to get a fantasy in this month. So I think April is probably what's going to happen. Probably after I read The Mirror of the Light. Because that might come in right at that time, but we'll see. But I'm really excited to continue with this series, only because, again, as much as it was brutal in some of her descriptions of things, and it was, the characters are just phenomenal. Like, I just love them already. And the ones that you shouldn't, you look at their names, I mean, they're called, like, Satan and Damien and Lucifer, but I love them. And I just, anyway, as I said, I can't like say I recommend this to everybody. You have to be really aware of what you're, what you're getting into, but I still am gonna pick us up. I would like to hear if anybody else has read the series and how they feel about it, or if they're going to pick it up. Again, just be aware, that it can be, as I said, pretty brutal. And again, I've read a lot of stuff. I can't say that I'm like really shy about that stuff, but it would hurt, like, some of the things in here, and I think it's just, you just have to be aware of that. She goes for the gods. It's just bad. I mean, it's good. I enjoyed it. Anyway, so I'm going to continue on with that, and I really thank Maria for the buddy read. It was really fun. So while I was reading that, because we were reading 50, 60 pages a day, I could read something later after I stopped, because we were, you know, she would tell me how much she read, and then I would read to that point. And then, so I picked something else up, and I picked up a book that was kind of, I thought would be a slow read for me, and it has proven to be, and I think I'm going to probably pick this up only right before bed, kind of like a chapter or two, and it's because it's, I don't remember if there's like 26 chapters or something. Oh, 37. So this could go through March. But I picked up River by Esther Kinsky, translated by Ian Galbraith from the German. So this was the group read for Read More German Books, 2020, by that's put on by Mel at Mel's Bookland Adventures and Britta Bohler at The Second Shelf. And I know a lot of people have some mixed reviews on this, and I can see why. But personally, I am really enjoying this, but it's really weird because this is not a book I normally would have picked up. So this is following a woman who is in London for some unknown reason, at least so far that I know. And she's staying there, and she takes these walks because she's wasting time. And I'm not sure what she's waiting for or what's going on for sure. But we're getting her history and also, you know, current, present day. But it has to do a lot with water, river, nature. She's talking about the rivers she's lived next to, like the... oh crap, my brain just went out. Which one? She grew up next to the Rhine, and then right now she's living next to the river, Leia? I don't know. L-E-A? I don't know which way you say that one. But then talks about going to the Thames. I can't talk today, sorry guys. Rivers, you know, in London. Anyway. So, because she's in London now, but she's, I'm guessing from Germany. I mean, I don't know where the Rhine actually runs. I'd have to go look that up. Actually, I have to do that. Anyway, that was my own little map in my head, just froze and went away. But this book is really slow going for me. Like, it actually can put me to sleep because I get really tired reading. It's because it's all, it does have some pictures in it. It's all, narrative. The dialogue is a little embedded when there is some dialogue, and there's not a lot of it. And I don't read a lot of books that have no dialogue. Even most of the history books I read have dialogue in them. So it's hard for me to read. I can only read a couple of sections, and again, they're usually between, you know, like 5 to 10 pages for each chapter. It's not very big. And again, the book is like 350, because there's 37 chapters. But yeah, that would be alright, because it's like 10 or less pages per chapter, so I can only read a chapter or two a night because I'm about to fall asleep. It just puts me to sleep, but the writing is so beautiful. I'm not describing this very well because it's really hard for me to talk about it, because it's just such a different read than what I'm used to reading, I guess. I don't really read, I read some nature books, but not a lot. I don't have ones where people are paying attention to landscapes, urban or nature in this way. And I guess I'm still trying to get into it. So I've only gotten 78 pages in. So I haven't got very far because I've been reading it a little bit all week. So it'll probably be most of March, me trying to get this done. Unless I can sit down and get a good chunk done. But I really don't think so. I don't read it that way. To me, it's really nice to take it in little bits. And I am enjoying it that way. So I think it's going to be a book that's going to take me all month. So you'll probably see it pop up here periodically. And then another book that I did start was my library book was Showa, 1939 to 1944, A History of Japan, by Shigeru Mizuki. This is translated by, I think it's Zach Davidson, but I can't find, yeah, Zach Davidson. So again, this is volume 2 of a 4-volume manga with the history of Japan between the dates on the Showa era, which was 1920. Oh, okay, I think it's 26 to 83, I think, or something. I don't remember where it ends. We'll find out when we get there. Point is, this book is during the war period, and so it follows. It shows historical events, as I said, written in manga style, with like the people, and then there are notes, history notes in it too, and it's really fascinating to see stuff from the Pacific side of things, like when they talk about what places Japan invaded or tried to get into and stuff, and it's so stuff like I don't know a lot about. So the history has been really great. Mizuki also, I mean, at this point he hasn't joined a military force yet, but his brother has already joined at this point into the Navy. I think he's going to go in here pretty soon. I'm not sure. I'm about a quarter of the way through. I can only read this for so long before my cats get in the way and they knock it over, because they don't like this big of a book. Anyway, so I'm really enjoying this. Again, I read the first volume a couple weeks ago. I have this one. I have the third one here already, so I do need to get this done this week. It's due next Sunday, so I do want to finish it this week. So I'll probably just do a little bit every day to get it done. But I am fascinated by that, and it's, again, more history stuff from a perspective I don't know a lot about. So I'm learning a lot of stuff about that area during, like I said, during the 30s. I had no idea half the stuff that was going on over there. So it's been really fascinating. And then last night I picked up Come Tumbling Down by Seanan McGuire. This is book 5 in the Wayward Children series. I've enjoyed all the books in this series, some more than others. So far, I am loving this one. So this one is, I'm about 2/3 of the way through, I think is what it said. So I have like 70 pages left. I'm going to finish this out today. This one follows some of the cast that comes from book 1 and 3. So Every Heart a Doorway is the first one. And the third one was Beyond the Sugar Sky. So you have to read these all in order. This is not one you want to read out of order. It will not make any sense, because you also need to read you should just read all of them in order. And I said, these are really short standalone, or not standalones. God, my brain just said that. I just meant they're short novels. I mean, novellas almost. They're just about 200 pages. They're not very long. They're really fast reads. So far, this one is definitely on par with how I feel about the first one. The only difference is that the first one was much more the learning the world, or learning kind of what's going on, and the school. Here, this one is more of a quest. So I'm kind of enjoying that. Anyway, so this is going, I said, really well. I'm hoping to finish it out today. I mean, I'll finish it out today. It's only 70 pages and it's really fast. But I'm really, really enjoying this. So I'll hopefully get that done today. And then I started my new audiobook. I picked up The Guns of August by Barbara W. Tuchman. So I don't know who I saw this first on. It could have been during one of Steve Donoghue's bookshelf tours last year sometime. I don't remember, but I picked up the audiobook like a while ago on some sale, and then I didn't realize I had the audiobook, and I found this at the library book sale last October, and so I picked it up and I got home and I'm like, I already had that, but oh well. So I have a copy as well as audio. So I'm listening to an audio, which is really good. And I'm sorry, I do not remember the narrator's name because I just started it this morning. So I will remember that next time. I'm sorry about that. But so far it's really good. I mean, again, I like how this is going to follow. I think it's kind of confusing because I don't have any description on here on what it is. It's about, I think it's about a month in 1914. Like right now it's starting in 1910, so it's kind of doing the prelim, but it's for about before World War I really starts going. It's kind of like the time right before what sets everything off, and then what leads to what happens after the war to what happens in World War II and beyond. So she's picking, I think, a time period and a few events that that all that kind of spirals out from. And I'm not sure, again, I'm only in the first chapter. I only read the first chapter. And so I don't, right now it's just setting up. So it was really good, the first chapter. So that's all I got though. I've only gotten, 20 pages, 18 pages. Not very far yet. So anyway, but I'm looking forward to that this week. It is I think it's about a 19-hour audiobook. So this will probably take me a couple weeks. Unless I have some good days at work where I can just sit there and listen to it and nobody's bothering me. We'll see. But, as I said, tomorrow I'll have some time. So anyway, I'm picking up this history book. So I'm trying to, which is why I'm putting off my wanting to do the Audible escape. I'm like, I have audiobooks I want to listen to. Let's listen to some of the ones I own already. And then maybe I can do that. So anyway, but so far it's good. I just started that. And then what I think I'm going to pick up after Come Tumbling Down physically is I think I want to pick up my reread of Too Late to Die by Bill Kreider. This is the first book in the Down Roads mysteries. So I'm really excited to start my reread of this. I've never reread any of these books and I got 25 to read and I'm excited. So, so I did read the back finally. I just love it. I just was going to go into it pretty blind. It didn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me really. I'm just going to read these anyway. So these are great little, I call them cozy police procedurals because it's a sheriff detective of Blackland County and he, in Texas, and he, this book he's actually up, I think he's either up for re-election or it's coming up. Which is a theme through a lot of the books. Anyway, there are several of the books at least where he has to come up for re-election, which is fun. Anyway, so he's there's some petty crimes going on, some stealing, and then a young woman is killed, and then that's going to be the main thing. And of course, he's gonna find out what's going on. I love his quirks. I love his little things that will carry through all the books. We get to meet characters in here that'll last all the way through all 25 books. I am so excited to do this reread, and that's why I can't wait. We're now in March Mystery Madness. So that is our month-long readathon. That's, I think it was started by Elizabeth at Lizzy Faye Loves Books and a few other people and I know I saw a lot of this stuff about this on Sarah at Steeped in Books. So I've taken part of it the last few years. I want to start my reread first because it's really short. I'm hoping that I can get that done in the first day or two because this was only 182 pages, I think is what it said. Yeah, 182 pages, so it's really fast. So I'm hoping to get this done because I want to pick up another one later this month. So maybe get 2 of them done we'll see. Anyway, so I'm probably gonna pick this up later today. And then the book that I think I'm going to pick, or I know I'm going to pick up next, is because it's due at the library next Sunday, and that's A Madness of Sunshine by Nalini Singh. Again, Nalini Singh is one of my favorite authors. I need to get to this library book. I just haven't had time yet since I got it. This is her first thriller, so is in New Zealand, and a woman has left has come back after some time. I did read the description. Anyway, so she's come back after living abroad, comes back to New Zealand. She's kind of trying to restart her life. And when she was a youngster, you know, or in her early teens, a woman was killed or went missing. I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't got that far. Just something happened to somebody back when she was younger. And then she's now there, and I think it happens again. And so then nobody trusts anybody because of the town. Everybody, not very many people have changed. I mean, she's come and gone, but not a lot of other people have. So small town, sounds coastal, sounds cool. Thriller. So again, mystery. So I'm gonna read that. I just read the first page or two. It wasn't like I read very much yesterday, just to get a taste of it. And I'm like, I wanted to dive right in. I'm like, no, I gotta finish my other stuff. So that is it. Oh my gosh, I talked a lot, but I had a lot of reading. I did a lot of reading. I got through a lot of stuff, and I've started a lot of stuff. But due to different reasons. Anyway, so I'm hoping to finish all the books that I just showed you, except for River. River will probably continue for several weeks, so you might see that a while. And of course, the Guns of August probably will take me a little time as well, due to how long that audiobook is. But really, I had a great reading week overall with what I read. Number-wise, I did really well, so that was pretty cool. And other than that, that's it. What are you guys reading? Are you taking part in March Mystery Madness? I will start my mammoth next week. I'm going to give myself a week of reading mysteries, and then I'll do my mammoth later. So just in case you were curious, I'm going to wait. But I'm going to do, as I said, I'm going to try to get a couple mysteries done this week. I'm going to get these ones and then maybe pick up one more before I pick up my mammoth. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, and so if you guys read any of these books, or you know, just want to tell me about your reading, that'd be great. And okay, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.